One of the things that we've been told by other, I guess, guests would be that there are Mexican cartel members that are going out to Ukraine and learning how to fly drones. We've seen the onset of drone warfare happening in Mexico currently. And so my question to you is, have you seen this kind of evidence happening in Ukraine where some kind of drug trafficking organization sending people to learn how to use this skill set?
Yeah, so I'll tell you right off the bat, yes, 100%. Most guys that have been inside of the Ukrainian military or the Russian military, because it's reported on both sides, and that's extremely important to keep in mind for a later point. They are coming here not just to learn drones, they're getting experience, they are learning tactics, but they are also losing their sensitivity for killing, which I know we don't associate the cartels with people who have high sensitivity to killing, but these organizations, they don't just breed people like this. They need experience. And the experience that's coming from Ukraine and the war in Ukraine is unlike any other. This is not just a place for Western forces to gather AI data for the future of warfare. Everyone in the world is taking notice. Our country, or our team, had people from 24 different countries at the height of operations, and it was extremely diverse. And most people's reason for being there, not just the cartels, is I want to be a better warrior, right? So these guys are coming here. They're being paid to come here. They're getting money on top of what they're doing, and they're trying to take those tactics back. Now, luckily, we work with people here in Ukraine in the intelligence service, such as the SBU, that are really good at background checks. They are checking these guys out. They are going through with a fine-tooth comb. They need warriors, but they don't need evil people. And these Ukrainian people are very good at sniffing out evil people and people with ill intentions. So they have a process for dealing with it, and we don't teach them drone warfare specifically, but when you're here in this country, you're going to pick up on it because it's everywhere. And like I said, most of it is open source. So they're here, and there's a bigger problem coming that nobody's addressed yet.
What's that?
Well, for instance, the International Legion here in Ukraine has been shutting down shop. So where are these guys going to go? Right? So you don't just have people from Colombia and Mexico, Brazil, from the cartels coming. You also have people that are pro-government forces that were pushed out of their countries by new socialist regimes. These guys didn't have a home anymore in these countries, and they didn't recognize what was going on. They're being persecuted. They want to continue to use their skill sets as a warrior, so they've come here. At the same time, they're recognizing the bad apples and the socialists that are coming here to train as well. Forces like ELN, right, down in Colombia. These guys have been learning tactics on both sides, and they're about to come home in big numbers because there's no home for them here. And when they come home, this battle is going to intensify with the tactics. We're already seeing it. I know you've seen it.
Yeah, but that's interesting. Several questions. I mean, there's different pockets, right? So you guys are one kind of faction that's working with the actual government. You guys are fully have clearance and everything. So that's your version of this war. There's another version of this war, just other factions just fighting it just on their own, just learning skills.
No, what it is they would come into an international legion unit, and this would be people from all different countries. They get lumped in together into a foreign unit, and then they would go out and fight together. But we've been able to identify plenty of people with ill intentions that have somehow slipped through. These guys get reported for the most part. Sometimes they get picked up when they're at home. Sometimes they're just passing the intelligence back to the people in their country saying, hey, this guy had issues over here. Keep an eye on him when he gets home. But if they're well aware of their intentions when they go there, do you think that they're going to hang them up when they get home? No, they're going to put them to work. So these guys need a place in the legitimate military and government forces with the skill sets they have when they come home to be able to continue so they don't become bad guys.
Yeah, and you said there's significant numbers. What do you mean significant numbers? Can you give me like an estimate what that looks like?
I couldn't give you an estimate on how many foreign volunteers from specific countries like Colombia, Mexico. So I would refer to the Ukrainian armed forces for those numbers, but they're significant.
Okay.
Entire
that's crazy
battalions.
To hear. And then that's what I'm thinking. Battalions. Wow.
Yeah, battalion size elements. You have company size elements where it'll be all dudes just from Brazil in a defense intelligence unit, specialized. And they're put there not for, nefarious reasons or, they're just Brazil. They speak the same language. You need to be able to shoot, move, communicate.
Yeah.
But these guys, they make friends. And what I'm worried about is not the lone drone operator or the lone guy who came over and learned some tactics and coming back. I worry about the people who are sponsored to be there to create unconventional networks for these guys when they return home. That's a danger. The guy who can say, yeah, you don't need to be here anymore. Come home, come see me. We've got more money for you. We could use your skill sets. And I know this has happened because it's been our guys who have been approached by some of these guys just because of their nationality and descent. They're American citizens, but they're like, hey, I can tell that you're from so and so. Is your family from here? Cool. Let's talk when you get home. There's probably a job for you. That's dangerous.
That's some of your counterparts who may be of Latin descent of some sort. They probably get approached more often.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely. Yeah, they look out for us because they know we're looking out for them. So
yeah, absolutely. I've had some intel sent to me by another individual in Mexico who was in the law enforcement capacity, and they were investigating. There's a white gentleman who had these sleeve tattoos, and as we further investigated, the sleeve tattoos were indicative of someone from the Ukraine military of some sort. And is that something you've heard of Ukrainian forces going down to Mexico to do training? Even if it's just one-offs, have you heard anything like that before?
No, I haven't. Right now, the Ukrainian people are extremely engaged and passionate about defending their country. It is a desperate struggle for survival. Thank God they have the strength and resiliency like no other people I've seen. But I've not heard of actual Ukrainians going down there to train cartels. I have heard of special operations veterans from America that may have had time over here that have gone there. But whether they're there training the cartel or they're training counter-cartel forces, counterterrorism forces, I'm not sure, right? These aren't friends. These are just people who are saying, hey. There's been reports.
Go ahead.
There's been reports of pale faces down there, teaching similar tactics that have come across to us. And we think this is a huge danger because the way that I think of it is like these guys are like us, but they're on the other side.
Yeah, and maybe they're Russian. Maybe it's a Russian actual source. Who knows? It's some very pale individuals are heading down to Mexico and what an operator looks like when they just wear regular plain clothes. The gentleman looks like an operator for sure, carried himself in a certain manner, and it felt like, wow, this is an interesting concept. I guess their first initial thought was that he's maybe some kind of Ukrainian special forces, but there's an opportunity there that it could have been easily some kind of Russian as well. Who knows? But yeah, that's always a concern.
Hi, everybody. This episode is brought to you by our partners at GHOSTBED. And today I'm actually sitting down with its founder, Mark Warner, to talk about the story behind their brand and why they're all in on all of us getting better sleep.
I've had 3 neck surgeries over the past 27 years. And so I couldn't find a pillow or mattress that worked for me. And so I ended up having to invent my own. I took great care in it so it would take care of my problems. And then I also sleep warm, so I invented a lot of cooling technologies and got a number of patents on that kind of technology. So that was the origin of the purpose. But I wanted to start it with my wife and then my kids as a family business. So my grandfather, after World War I, he started the Werner Company, which ultimately became Werner Ladder. And then my dad invented the aluminum ladder, the machines to make it, and then he invented the fiberglass ladder and fiberglass and the machines to make that. So I was reared in that environment of quality, engineering, inventing, all that kind of stuff. And I grew up in that. So when I was starting GHOSTBED and making my own memory foam pillows and mattress, that was my kind of history and allowed me to kind of really make a very quality product. And that's really how we got started. And we're all about high quality at an affordable price. So for all of our Ironclad viewers, we have a special offer. So you go to ghostbed.com/ironclad, and we're giving an extra 15% off, which is a really big discount on already low prices. To come to GhostBed, take advantage of that special pricing with Ironclad, and enjoy a GhostBed mattress and other products.